Hello, welcome. This is another episode of Transcendent CEO. My name is Andrea Albright, and I am thrilled to be here with the creator of Transcendent CEO. Hi, Satyan. How are you today?
Great, always to see you and to have everyone here today. We're going to have a deep dive and a fun party together.
Yes, and I see you have a beautiful, amazing person with you. Would you like to introduce your incredible wife, Suzanne?
So this is my beloved wife, Suzanne, of 34 years, and we co-lead trainings, co-lead workshops, and we co-serve those beings that we're blessed to serve, especially in this case, these two incredible business leaders and visionaries, Ray and Jessica.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let's jump right in and introduce our very special guests today. They are a power couple, Ray and Jessica Higdon. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, honored to be here. Thank you so much.
This really is a very special interview because both Satyan and Suzanne have been working with, coaching Ray and Jessica. So we are going to just have a love fest and talk about all the ways that your life, your business, your relationship has transformed. How does that sound?
Awesome.
Great.
Amazing. Well, I would love to start actually with Suzanne. So Suzanne, how did you find Jessica and Ray? How did you come into this whole mix?
Well, gee, I would say that it was a blessing to meet Jessica and Ray. Satyan called me in one day and he said, you know, you have to meet this couple. They are incredible. And you're going to want to just sit and speak to them and see what is it that's going on with them? What do they want in their life, and have a conversation. And that's often how we meet I meet the power couples that we get to work with. Satyan has this spark of inspiration and he meets someone, and I think it was in this case Ray, and then I was going about my beautiful day and I happened to connect and I met Jessica. She showed up in the space, you know. Ray was there. Ray was awesome. Yay, it was wonderful to meet you, Ray. And then there was Jessica, and I was like, whoa, who is this? And we started talking, and then we started coaching together, and my goodness, you know, talk about ideal human to have the blessing of serving. I just this is what happens, you know. I have this great thing in my life where I get introduced to wonderful people, and sometimes I wonder, wow, who am I to get the opportunity to work with such beautiful beings? And so that's my long answer to a very beautiful question. And I feel very honored to be serving such incredible humans.
That's fantastic. What a way to kick off this interview. I mean, this is really very special because we have done quite a few of these Transcendent CEO leadership interviews. And to have you, Suzanne, who's working with Jessica, this is a very special treat. It's adding a whole nother flavor and dimension. And so, Jessica, I'd love to hear from you. How did you find Satyan and Suzanne, and what was it like for you when you first met them?
Well, not to steal from Ray's story, but I know that when he was first introduced to Satyan, it was from a very successful business owner that we know very well, who said, this is the man who completely changed my business and my life. And so when you hear that from someone who is wildly successful, at least we as coaches and clients know that we should listen to somebody who knows more than we do around these things. So we didn't even question it. And Ray reached out to Satyan and he said, you know, my wife actually coaches this wives as well, or the spouse of the business owner, and also does a lot of coaching on her own of top level CEOs and people in all different walks of life. And I was nervous. I'm not going to lie. I didn't necessarily, and we can get into that a little later. I didn't necessarily want to go as deep as I knew they would take us. And so it was a little nervous for me, but I knew that if I wanted to have the transformations along with him and grow with him, that I really needed to be on the same page. And Suzanne just has this warmth and this light about her that makes you feel so welcome and so open. And she pulled things out of me that nobody ever has. And again, we'll probably get into this later, but it's completely changed not only the way we look at our business, but our life as a couple. So we're very, very blessed.
For sure.
Wow, how amazing. And I second that. Suzanne is the most luminous, radiant being, and she just shines onto you and brings it out from within. Well, Ray, so can you tell us about your business and your partnership with your wife, and what made you decide that, hey, instead of just doing this mentorship with Satyan on my own, I want to get my wife involved?
I actually don't recall exactly how getting the wife involved worked. I think Satyan said, hey, they should get together. And I'm like, okay. So I don't remember exactly how that went down. But, it was powerful. My friend Trey recommended Satyan, and I reached out to him, and, we had just an initial call. And in that initial call, I had still to this day, the biggest breakthrough I've ever had in my life. And that was in the initial call before I even, hired him. And so, I had this sets of programming in me that had damaged every relationship I'd ever had, business and personal. And that came from my childhood of being abandoned and having resentment and, seeing myself. I didn't know this, but I was constantly seeking why I wasn't the priority in every relationship I ever had. And so understanding that, which I've shared this with our students and clients and members. I call it the center of the maze. I really believe he helped me get to the center of the maze of that core program that had been running. And I'd identified several of the other programs and had fixed several other programs, but the core one I hadn't. And so how that served me is it's had me showing up differently in our business, in our relationship, and with my kids, and just it's changed everything for me. And it also allowed me to help others too. So our business, you asked about our business, we're partners in a software company, and we help with membership training and helping people with sales and mindset and social media. And we train a lot of network marketers, work with a lot of network marketing companies, and a lot of people we work with, they have, their hangups, right? Which, in their programs that they're not aware of. And so me going through this process helped me to better identify that and help them too.
Wow, that's so powerful. And here you are running a successful company. You've obviously had a lot of success as an entrepreneur, and yet you had this one issue that you were saying you were destroying the relationships over and over again.
Yep.
Satyan, I'd love to bring it back to you. I mean, do you find this common in successful entrepreneurs who are building big empires and leading teams and have this big public persona or public face to the world, but then their own private lives may have these issues that they keep replaying?
Well, we're all human, and we're all on a learning journey, and there's no arrival. I believe that we're in constant evolution. And, when I met Ray and Jessica, they were already very established, very successful, beautiful souls, beautiful family people. They have beautiful family that they care for so deeply. And when people come to us, it's not like they're broken and busted and at the bottom of things. They're quite successful in many realms of their being. And what's a hallmark, and this is where Ray came, was his vulnerability. He came to me saying, look, I'm successful in these areas, these realms, and these are certain areas that I could use. I'm not broken, but I could use in development, cultivation, improvement, awakening. And so we went on a journey, and as Ray shared in the first preliminary session, we were able to find the root of where energy is contracted in him, I believe it's like a water hose. If you kink a water hose, you're going to have less flow from the water. No matter how forceful the water is, no matter how amazing your tube or your hose is, but if there's a kink in the hose, then the energy is limited, the flow is limited. So what I do is, my particular craft is finding where those kinks are in being, helping an individual open those flows, which Ray did immediately. So his receptivity has to be there, and it was. He was deeply receptive to having this transformation at a family level, at a relational level, and that's what happened. His whole relational energy went to a whole other echelon of being, and all that heaviness that was inside of him for years of shit basically started transforming rapidly. And that's going to make, that energy is not there to set aside, it's not there to ignore, it's not there to distract yourself with sex, drugs, booze, whatever distraction. It's there to face and evolve, to make you a better being. And I got to say that, Ray and Jessica, but my work with Ray has been profound because, he's demonstrated the vulnerability as a strong leader to do even the strongest stuff, which is face those challenges. And he did with true vulnerability to make him even a greater leader. And I believe that is the hallmark of today, to be the greatest leaders for ourselves and our teams. We have to do the inner work so that we're even a more powerful force in the outer world.
That's amazing. So powerful. And what an incredible example of how you can actually untangle that stuff that gets caught up. So, well, Jessica, I'd love to talk to you. I know that you're actually going to be leaving the interview a little early to pick up your kids, which is, of course, the highest priority, the family. And I would love to hear just how have things been different with your business, with your relationship with your husband, with your relationship with yourself since you've been coaching with Suzanne?
Well, I'll say the number one thing, at least for me, that they both, but just working specifically with Suzanne, but they both taught us was about masculine and feminine energies. Mm-hmm. And there's so much stigma around that term. But when you really dive into it, it can help you with so many different areas of your life. And I remember, me talking to Suzanne and just wanting her to just give me the answers, like give me the answers. And she never would just tell me what I should do or how I should go about something. She helped me self-discover it, which for me was so much more valuable because now I can take everything that I've learned from her and apply it in my everyday life without having to be like, Suzanne, what would you do here? What would you say here? And that to me is one of the most powerful coaches that you could ever have in your life, or mentors that you could ever have in your life, and someone who enables you to become more of a leader in that area within your business and your life. So just to get specific, one major pain point for Ray and I was around money, which sounds crazy because we do well in our business, but it's not like the better that you do in life or in your company, it's not like those restrictions or negative thinking or past traumas around money just go away and disappear. Like sometimes they amplify and can even get worse when you're making more money. And so Ray and I really learned through this being our pain point of how to harness that masculine energy, which I told Suzanne, I have to give kudos to him, because if he wasn't willing to be vulnerable and open up and follow the mentorship, then our lives wouldn't have changed if he didn't follow what they said. So I just so appreciate you around that. But he harnessed his masculine energy around really becoming more involved in that area. And me, I feel like today he asked me, he said, how do you feel? I said, I feel, these are my exact words. I said, I feel light as a feather, like just release. So much has been released that I can be more creative and I can follow more of what I'm passionate around. And Satyan and Suzanne would know better than I would, but I feel like a lot of men, their number one priority is really providing. And if they're married, that their spouse is fulfilled and content and happy. And with me being more fulfilled and content and happy just in general, especially with a family and small kids, he's actually able to produce at a higher level and feel better. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just what I've experienced in general. So it's not like there was one specific thing, oh, they did this and our whole world changed, but it was a culmination of him fixing some things that were going on a deep level, and me fixing some things that were going on a deep level, and then coming together and completely transforming really the way we look at life. So I just have to say 1000% thank you to them. One of our favorite coaches we've ever had. And I will say that, Ray and I are not new to investing in ourselves and investing in coaching. We've been doing it throughout our entire careers, and started 12 years ago. And this has been one of the most unique and most transformative experiences that we've ever had. And so we're very grateful to those other coaches because they've taught us a lot along the way. But I will say that Suzanne and Sachin, and they didn't pay me to say this, but they think at a different level. And I just feel good. And when you feel good, you can do good. And so that's been my experience.
Well, you really can't get any better than that, can you? Wow, what an incredible transformation. And it sounds like it really is that self-reliance of knowing that you can lead yourself forward in every situation, and that masculine feminine polarity. Suzanne, can you talk more about what Jessica is experiencing? I mean, here you are, this radiant goddess in a loving partnership with a powerful masculine man for 34 years. And do you see how a lot of women can, lose their own identity or lose their shine or lose their own sense of self when they are in relationship? And how have you helped Jessica to find that in her own self?
Yeah, thanks. Great question. I coach from my experience. I coach from having been and am in a relationship, in a power couple. And power couples are what excite us, because power couples are what are going to lead the way, actually, in a big way. Power couples and people wanting to be in power couples, wanting to have relationships where we're speaking about masculine and feminine energies that we have in us. We have that in all of us. And in terms of my feminine, which is what I have more of, that energy of, the flow of love and wanting to experience the flow of love. And when I feel that the flow of love within me is not flowing, and that it's tight for some reason, it affects me, it affects my children, it affects what I do in the world, it affects my relationship, which is the first and foremost importance in my life. And so my coaching is about helping to awaken powerful women in powerful power couples to remember how to drop any resistance to the flow of love through accessing the oracle, the wisdom within them that is always there, but the pilot light may have been turned down a bit due to life, due to all different things that happen. And what I do is I stoke that light within them. I help to guide that light open, and so that they are not, it's not about leaning on me, but it's about awakening what's inside their power, empowering them to realize that, awaken that, brighten that. I call it peak radiance. And so like the sun, it becomes alive in all areas of their life, not just one, but that all areas start to rise, and that we arise together, and we include our partner in that. And we include our children in that, and we include our life in that, so that the flow of love is flowing in all directions all the time, and that we feel lighter, like Jessica says, and all parts of our being awaken, so that we can be the great gift that we are, that we're here to be, and have that pour into our relationship, and thereby bless our world, every part of our world.
Whew. I feel like I should give a standing applause for that. That was amazing. We need more of this in our world. Well, Ray, before Jessica has to go and pick up the kids, why don't you say, what have you seen in her? How have things changed? And what does it feel like to you to feel her lightness?
It's awesome because, like when you feel or witness your wife being down or heavy, not heavy weight wise.
Yeah.
Say clear.
Hey.
But like, just not peppy, not excited, and just a little, not as bright. It as a man, it reflects on, you have to take some of that and say, what am I not doing to help her shine brighter? And, and I see that she mentioned that when she's lighter, I can produce more. And to be more specific, when she's lighter, I can go harder toward my purpose. And that's, I really have felt that. And, just seeing her happier, lighter, more excited, our relationship has just been, amazing. It's been awesome. And it allows me to, there's a lot of things that have changed, in this last year. I mean, both of us started meditating. I lost 30 pounds. I have never in my life, 44 years old, I've never balanced a checkbook. I've never done any financial anything, right? Like my whole life. Because my first marriage, she balanced the books. She's balanced the books, our whole relationship. And, this is our 10-year anniversary this year. And I took that over. And, taking that over, I realized that I'm actually pretty good at it. And
he's actually better. He's like way better at it than I am. And so I was like in that masculine energy for 12 years, like just producing,
Yeah.
financial, anything that wasn't income related, I wasn't really focused on. And I just got burned out.
Yeah.
And they helped me to like Ray said,
yeah. I remember
fire up that light.
I remember one day, I came home and I was in the process of taking over, and she had logged in to do something, and she had seen a big expense. And so she's like, I'm like, all right, we're changing the password. You're out of here, man. Like you can't even log in. Like we're not letting you. And so just taking that responsibility, which, I would think would reduce my effectiveness, but because she's so much lighter, I'm just producing more, and I'm just more on purpose. And I'm it doesn't bother me at all. I don't look at it as emotional. I just do what needs to be done. And so it's been incredible. We also, in the last year, which Satyan, helped coach me through, and she was involved as well, as we did our first dance competition. And if you asked me a year ago, like I don't dance, right? I'm the guy, no thanks. And unless I've had a few, and then it's not pretty. But we've actually, we did our first competition. We got another one coming up in a few months. And so literally every aspect of life and business is different now. And it just feels so much better than it was.
Totally.
Oh my goodness, this is amazing. From financial checkbooks to ballroom dancing. I mean, Satya, can you explain like what's happening here in this synergy?
Well, as business leaders, we tend to focus on one dimension of ourselves, the business growth, most of the time. And what tends to atrophy and not get attended to is relationship, sexuality, our health, our well-being, our connection with spirit, our connection with children. And so I've come to recognize from my own life, working with many leaders, is that it's so much more beautiful to have a life of equanimity, equilibrium, transcendence, and to go from peak performance in one area to peak existence in the whole spectrum of life. Mm-hmm. Because what use is a lot of money and kudos if you're not really fulfilled and having joyful interaction with your own beloved and your own kids. So what I like to do is I like to come in with a laser, take a look at where are we individually in terms of our connectivity to spirit, to our faith in themselves, in the universe, in God, faith? Where are we in terms of our relationship with our family dynamics? Where are we in relationship to our fitness, health dynamics? What about our fun, our joy, our reason for being in life? Faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. We call those the freedoms, learned from one of my mentors, Kevin Nations. And with these particular freedoms, you know, Ray and Jessica they really got that if they want to have a multi-dimensional successful life, not just one area, then let's flower out wisdom. Let's bring the wisdom, let's bring the power of your success in all areas. And although the subconscious, the egoic mind might feel if I do, I'll be less successful in one area, it always proves the opposite. Happy home, happy wife, happy well-being, happy connection to self, to the center of who you are, to know, to recognize who you are, transforms everything in the outer world. And success with peace, success as peace, as joy, I believe is what we're ushering in as power couples, as a demonstration to the world that we can let go of the old paradigm of struggle until you burn out and embrace this new philosophy of let's enjoy the journey of self-realization, self-learning, awakening as we're growing successful businesses in our own freedom.
It's so beautifully said, and such an incredible example that we get to witness and watch it here. Jessica, I know you have to go and pick up your children. Thank you so much for joining us on this interview. It's been so wonderful to have
Thank you all. Sorry that I have to leave, but you may hear that from them in a little bit. They're right across the street, so.
Great. We'd love to see the kids.
Thank you all. Thank you, Sachin and Suzanne. You both are amazing. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Keep staying light as a feather.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Fantastic. Well, Ray, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what Sachin just shared about how maybe in the past you were isolated and thinking business was business, and then the rest of your life was compartmentalized. And you know, where were you before, and how have things changed now that you're seeing it all as this one big state of flow?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I had been, I guess, on the path, I think, for maybe a couple of years, maybe just a year and a half, maybe two of, you know, I remember like, you know, my first, you know, $1 million year, then $1 million month and $1 million weekend. And looking back, none of that did anything emotionally for me. It was just like another goal, another goal, another goal, another goal. And so, you know, a couple of years ago, I just, you know, kind of went on this journey of how do I figure out, you know, what's going on in here. And I remember one of my breakthroughs in the last 2 years was we were at a charity function, and this one of our, you know, both Jess and I, and one of my old neighbors came up and said, "Hey, did you see the Belize trip?" And I was like, you know, no. And she said, "Oh my God, it's a private island, private jet, private ship, private yacht, 5 couples only, amazing." And I remember thinking, that sounds like hell. And I didn't know why. I'm like, you know, my wife was like, "Ooh," like she's all excited. And I just thought, man, that sounds terrible. And I don't know why. I didn't say it, but, you know, I kept that in. And then on the way home, I'm like, what the hell's wrong with me? Like, why? Like, that is awesome. I should be excited about that. And, you know, that was one of those moments that I decided to start digging in. And I learned that the reason I had an issue with that was based around my social anxiety of being betrayed as a kid. And I thought I'd solved, like, I've solved it now. But it wasn't until Satyan that I really got even deeper and realized that I had, you know, resentment toward, you know, certain family members, and around being abandoned, around being left in a house of abuse. And I'd carried that through with, you know, all the relationships. I didn't understand masculine, feminine energy. I didn't. But I get it now. So I'll tell you a funny story. So we're sitting in the house, you know, we moved into this new house 2 months ago. And about 2 weeks before we close, she's looking at real estate. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she goes, oh, I'm just seeing. And I'm just like, but we're like moving in like, 2 weeks. And she goes, and then she goes, hey, you want to come see this house with me? And so before I went, are you crazy? I'm like, feminine energy. I'm like, sure, baby, let's go look at it. And so it just, understanding, that, the polarization, as you said, Andrea, understanding that has definitely changed our dynamics, and also how I show up and in our business. So for many, many years, I just haven't been super detailed. I haven't been in the numbers. I haven't been, not just finances, but like looking at our marketing campaigns, our advertising campaigns, and really being super involved. I've built people around me to do a lot of that stuff, but a lot of the things that should be on the CEO's responsibility list, I just wasn't doing. And so my team has even commented of how differently I'm showing up. Our, clients and members have commented on how different we've been showing up. We just ran our big annual event. We had 6,800 people registered. And we had so many people say that was the most transformational event they'd ever attended, and just how different we both showed up and how we looked happier, lighter, so many, breakthroughs, so much transformation in that event, lots of tears. And it was just such a different feeling. And so like, there just isn't an area. And I used to also, my form of coping with my self-worth issues in the past was just to just hide myself in work or hide myself in something else. And, there's a phrase I heard from Joe Dispenza that you outgrow your addictions. And I've outgrown a lot of the different addictions that I had that were coping mechanisms to prevent me from connection, to prevent me from spending more time with the kids, to prevent me from doing certain things that is extremely beneficial to do. And so I'm just super grateful.
Wow, there's so much going on with your transformation. It really is multiple levels, multiple dimensions. I mean, you even said you've lost 30 pounds. Can you tell us about, your physical transformation? And would you say that it all really started with the root of letting go of that childhood wound?
Yeah, I'll give you two specifics. So over the last 20 plus years, my weight has been up and down, but there's always been a point where I just wouldn't get past. And so I've been all the way to 255 pounds. I've been down to like 203, and 203 was kind of like, I'd hit that multiple times for whatever reason, and I would bounce back up. So I get to 203, hang there, 213, all right, 215. And now I've been under 200 for the first time since I was maybe 20 years old. I've been under 200 now for months, and still got some I'll knock out, but been under 200 for months. And I remember when I got to 203, like some of my programs kicked in, and I just was choosing a different identity. And I was just choosing, I don't want to be that person anymore. And there was several issues Satyan helped me work through. And what was unexpected for me, and maybe this will help, whoever's listening, is I thought that becoming more aware and growing in conscious level was just like it just, like, oh, good. Now I'm more aware and I feel even better. And for me, it was like, become aware, friggin' punch in the face, become aware, but kick in the, where, right? And so like on that journey of transformation, there were many times where different emotions were fighting me, and I had to, battle those. I had to battle, crossing the stream of, from one identity to the different identity. And Satyan really helped me with that. I remember, the day before or two nights before we competed in dance, I had what I've heard people refer to as a dark night of the soul. And I had this thing going on in my head that I didn't want to think anymore, and I didn't want to be that way anymore, but the new way hadn't arrived yet. And so I couldn't sleep. I'd close my eyes and my mind is just going crazy, trying to get me to think a certain way. And specifically that I wasn't the priority in my wife's life. And, for our entire relationship, I had never told her this, but she would do something. I'd say, I'm not a priority, but you know what? That's okay. And I was tired of thinking that way. And so I had this, breakdown where I couldn't sleep. I was like, just trying everything. And the day before that competition, I really didn't know if we were going to make it, to be honest. And, we had a session with Satyan, and, he just helped so much in helping me see things differently and helping us connect better. And we went on to have the most connecting day we've ever had in our lives. And I can way more connecting than our wedding, because I just wasn't that evolved back then. and so we had, we go to this competition. We did 60 dances between 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we just had the most fun day, connecting day, period. And that would not have happened without Satyan.
Wow, it sounds like a movie. I would love to see the screenplay for this. This is really epic. And I would love to ask both of you, but first, Suzanne, I mean, you've been in this transformation game for a long time, years, decades, right? And as you see a leader who goes through these identity shifts, can you kind of explain what's happening, or to the viewer how they can identify it in themselves and keep going? Like, what do you say to someone who maybe is experiencing their dark night of the soul right now?
Well, I have to compliment Ray and Jessica and really say that it takes courage. It really does take courage to be vulnerable, to feel what you're feeling. Jessica was mentioning she was scared. She wasn't sure she wanted to go through what she might be going through in her mind thinking. And this often happens when Satyan and I are before leaders, because leaders are typically the highest rung of their, they've got to the highest form of their development in terms of everyone looks to them for support. And so they're the ones that, who do they look to? And often when they're faced with Satyan and I, they feel something inside of them. They don't know, but they know that something's going to occur and something big is going to happen. And it takes courage to step forward and to say, okay, I'm ready for my next level of growth. This hurts so bad, what's going on in me right now. And have the courage to ask for help, to step forward and ask for help from the place of, I'm not broken, but there's got to be more to life than this. And I'm willing to grow. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to grow and to arise together. And again, complimenting Ray and Jessica and those clients that, we're very, very selective who we choose to work with, because we're 100% success club. We want you to be successful, and we will only work with you if we know that you have that capacity, the desire, and the capacity and the willingness to have the courage to say yes to yourself, yes to growth, yes to transformation. And so if you are watching, if you are listening to this, and you are a leader who has reached the highest of your echelons, at least you're the highest, that you need someone, or that you desire someone to serve you deeply, to help you move through those places that is possible, then and you have that courage and you have that determination to make headway as you have in your business, then open up and step forward and say yes to you like these incredible leaders have in their life, through their example.
That's beautiful. And Satyan, would you say that you see this in leaders, that there's a resistance or a fear or some kind of block, that they have a choice where they can either keep going, move through, or stay stuck? Why do you think that happens? Is it like the ego not wanting to die, or, I mean, what is going on there?
Yeah, I mean, it's multidimensional. There's a great book by Jim Collins called Good to Great, and it shares about the enemy of being great is things being good enough. And sometimes the enemy of transcendence is things being great. And so I think we all are evolving souls. We all are evolving leaders and souls. Everyone in the circle we're privy to serve and be part of, we're very empowered, evolving souls. And the humbleness is that we're evolving, but we're not evolved. We haven't arrived. And that foundational humility is what really makes a true leader. And especially in this day and age, we see the leadership that is coming from the place of ego, bombastic identities, trying to be things that we're not, trying to show some type of unnatural power in the world, power over others, power through deception. It's not the path. All those models, all those things are failing. And we have Ray, Jessica, and the other esteemed members in our circle who have chosen a path of truth. They would rather have the truth and grow from truth and grow aligned with truth, integrity, and their highest values and virtues, not mine, not Suzanne's, but to source what is their highest virtues and values and alignment. And those who take that courage, and that's what we focus with. We focus on getting, for example, Ray on line with his greatest, highest vibration, his strongest affinity and alignment and coherence. When he does that, then he affected his wife and his kids, now his teams, now his company. Spirit, wisdom will inform us where we need to move along the way. And we got to be unlike a Titanic, where if we see something ahead of, even if we try to turn, we're going to bump into it and crash because we're so big and onerous and cumbersome. Spiritually, energetically, we as this level of echelon of leader have to be like a canoe where we're able to move like this fast, quickly, to respond with the shifts, the changes of our times. I believe that us leaders are being called to, especially business leaders, are being called to a whole other level of being and empowerment to change the world for the better, to craft and to create and to usher the world for a better way, a more enlightened way of exchanging our gifts, our services on the planet. And that's where we're at. And it's happening. And Ray and Jessica are those who have felt that calling. And there's thousands of other entrepreneurs and businesses that are hopping on this philosophy of transcendent business, transcendent leadership, because it's what's being called of us right now.
It's so powerful.
Andre,
And Ray, yeah.
Andre, I just want to say something else,
Sure.
This is Ray and Jessica's 10-year anniversary. And, congratulations to you both. And here's, with Satyan and I, what we do, and we're coming up to our 34-year anniversary together. And we've been together for quite a while. And what it is with us and what we train our leaders who are in partnership is that over time, typically, when you're together, your relationship tends to, plateau and then sort of go down.
Or worse.
Well, the going down, and so with us, what we train our those that we work with is that the relationship over time, it gets better and better and better. And it's like, can it be better? Yes, it can be better. How better can it be? And that is it. And as their business thrives, their relationship thrives, because also the tendency is when the business starts to move and great things start to happen, the relationship tends to collapse inward. And so what we're about is a holistic rising of all of it. And that's the exciting thing, is that relationships are flourishing in all areas when the courage is there, and the willingness and the passion and the community that is now built around success in all those areas.
Beautiful.
Sure.
So powerful. So Ray,
Yeah.
now that you have been through the process and you're here on the side of transcendence, do the millions feel different? How have things changed?
Yeah. I've never, I've never like been, I've always wanted impact, and I've never, maybe to a fault, haven't focused on the money. I just figured if I make the impact, money will, come. But the business is different. And one of the things I wanted to add was, for most of my career as a coach, I was mainly giving people tactics, right? Go do this. Here's a checklist. Here's a script. Here's a marketing plan, and giving, tactics. And, in this, since working with Satya and really realizing that, people's business problem is a personal problem. And I found that to be true in every single case. I've since I've had that awareness, which Satya helped with, you can't put the genie back in the lamp. I've seen it every single time, every single person I've coached. So our coaching has gone from, hey, oh, you're struggling with consistency, here's a great routine, to here's why you're struggling with consistency, and helping them to see what was it from their past that is causing this problem. And so, and I couldn't do that if I didn't get that from Satya. And so, it's just a different feeling. Like, I just feel better. It's not just a transaction. It's not just selling courses or whatever. It's knowing that we're really helping people with what they really need. And that's been amazing.
That's so powerful. And now you actually get to enjoy it and have a deeper level of fulfillment. Well, Satya, how do you think the world is going to be different when more leaders become transcendent leaders and experience what Suzanne is so passionately sharing, of how relationships get better with decades instead of being destroyed, and that the leader truly can experience all realms of happiness and fulfillment? How is the world going to change?
Wholeness begins here, then it embraces and encompasses here, then it's embracing, encompassing here. And Ray brought to embrace and encompass his beloved and family. You're bringing to encompass your beloved and your service, and that you're bringing the world. And so this is a expansion of concentric circles that's happening right now. And so the new leadership, transcendent leadership, is transcending the old models of win-win-win for me, win-win for us, and now is evolved to win for all, omnidirectional, including winning for all. And I believe that's our destiny. It's our birthright. It's what we're all evolving into as a whole on this planet. And all beings, everyone is going to be nurtured and served by this expansion of this embodiment of this paradigm. And I'm glad, because I'm just one of the beings, one of the individuals, Suzanne, Ray, Jessica, yourself, that is ushering and stoking and supporting this highest vibration, intention, and philosophy for the greater good. So the greater good will benefit. And the greater good at the macro will also serve us right here today in our homes.
Wow. And when you share that, it just feels like a deep relaxation. You're not saying anything that we ourselves can't believe in and we've always wanted and hoped for. And that's why it's resonate of truth. It's just, it feels right. It feels real. Well, this has been Well, this has been a very powerful interview with a power couple. And thank you, Ray, for giving us your time, for being so vulnerable, for being so open about your transformation into a transcendent leader. And what would you like to say to the viewer in final closing of if they may be questioning, is this right for me or not?
Yeah, I think, seek and ye shall find. When the student's ready, the teacher appears, sort of thing. And so if you're looking at this, you already know the answer. And I would just, say that, yes, we have, I didn't really talk a lot about this, but yes, financially we are doing better. We have, improved in our finances, but that the difference between that improvement, which is awesome, and the difference in, the relationship and personal life is just so vastly transformed. And, it felt really good. Maybe a couple months ago, I was, hanging with the kids and her, and we were just, I don't even remember what we were doing. And she looked over at me and she goes, wow, I never realized, I forget exactly how she said it, but it was like, I never realized how much you've changed until just now. And it was, just a really touching, moment. And, she thought, the relationship is, fine and good, but she didn't know how much better it could be. And that was the same place, I was in. And so just everything is just so much better. And, like Jess said, we've invested, we've invested millions in coaching over the last, 8 years is probably when we really started heavily investing in coaching. And I don't regret any of it, but this, through Satya and Suzanne, like it's been so transforming and so powerful that we've never gotten from any other coaching. And so you deserve a better life. You don't, you can keep hustling and hustling and hustling to prove your worthiness, or you can figure your shit out and they can help you.
Boom. That's so powerful. Suzanne, what is in your heart to share? I know that you are so passionate about power couples, and what's in your heart to share?
What's in my heart to share is that if there is something inside of you that feels like it has not been touched upon as yet, either there is some great part of you that just hasn't been awakened as yet, or there is a deep pain or suffering that's inside that you can't touch on it. You're not quite sure what it is. Everything else seems to be working in your world, but there's something that's still needing that healing, that moving through. Either way, listen in deeply, and choose to say yes to you, because you are the oracle. You are the wise one. You are the wisdom. You are the change that you want to see in the world. And it starts with you. No one else. It starts with you. And if it's not you, who is it going to be? And if it's not now, then when? So take that and feel if any of this has touched you, if any part in you has said, now, say yes. And we need you. Your partner needs you. Your children need you. You need you to live now. Live now.
Wow, just pure silence on that one. So powerful. And Satyan, please bring us home to conclusion. This interview has been beyond transcendent. We've gone to so many different realms. What would you like to share?
I'm just filled with great gratitude right now. For Ray, Jessica, yourself, Suzanne, our circle. I feel gratitude for the time we are on this planet. We have a lot of challenges on this planet. We all know this. Many, many challenges. But we also have the capacity to transform these challenges. And to do that, we must start by becoming the being within ourselves, to be the catalyst, the support system of this vulnerable planet. And we have all the strength, the warriorship within us. We have all the wisdom and sagelyhood within us. We're being called. Let's all step up and arise together.
What a wonderful way to conclude this powerful interview. Ray, thank you very much for being our honored guest. It's been such a pleasure to have you here.
My pleasure. Honored.
And Suzanne, thank you for gracing us with your luminous radiance and pure love aura. Such a joy to have you here. And Satyen, thank you for creating the Transcendent Leadership Movement. To the viewer who's watching, you've gotten a taste of the magic, the mystery, and the possibility. And as Satyen says, it's about all of us supporting one another. And if you're called to be a part of this, then please reach out. We want to hear from you. We want to learn about you. And we all want to support you in becoming your greatest transcendent leader possible. My name is Andrea Albright. It has been an honor and a pleasure to be in this space and time with you all. Thank you for watching. And until next time, here's to your transcendence.